Hey, Anthony, I brought Chinese food. Just kidding, I got a couple turtles.
Oh, you're so funny.
Subscribe.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Here with another exciting episode from Just Turtles. And I'm joined by my friend, Mark DaSilva. What's up, Mark?
Hey, how's it going?
Mark, we're standing in front of the greenhouse right now. I don't know if you know, but Mark was very instrumental in the building of this greenhouse. You came here a couple times to help me out.
I did. I kept you focused, I think.
Yes.
I think I kept you focused.
You definitely did. I tend to be a little, more than a little ADD and run off after shiny things in different directions. And we worked our butt off that week, and you were a huge part of that. So the fact that this, and we're standing here talking, and it is like the heat is emanating from inside the greenhouse. It's so awesome, right?
It is, but look at all this green in here. Like, it's awesome. And it's beginning of winter.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I know. So, end of winter, beginning of spring.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Don't confuse everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to steal some of these water lettuce and stuff.
Oh, yeah, sure. I have hyacinth, but he'll be disappointed when he sees it.
I like hyacinth. I'll do that.
But we're hanging out today, and it's not just to hang out. We actually have a reason today. We are going to take you inside of the Geoemyda spengleri breeding operation here, our Vietnamese Black-Breasted Leaf Turtles, which are on Mark's shirt appropriately. And Mark has actually brought a female here today because he does not have a male that's of age, of size, of maturity to get the job done at this point. So we've got males here. So we're going to do a little conjugal visit, not he and I, but the turtles. So we're going to bring you along with us. So thanks for being here. Hope you like it.
Hi, I'm at Anthony's house. He is the spengleri god, and I have brought my female here to pair up with one of his males since I don't have a male. This girl is finally up to weight. When I received her, she was only about 99 grams. She was 99 grams. And now she's 148 grams. She's a fat little girl. And we are going to pair her off with one of Anthony's males. So I'm excited to see what happens. And hopefully, maybe I'll have a spengleri egg for the first time. Here she goes. She's going in the honeymoon suite. So we're going to put her in here. And then Anthony is going to pick the male that best suits her genetics, I guess.
This is a mature male. And when we're putting them together, for whatever reason, something that I just kind of observe, I don't know how much truth there is to it, although I do breed a lot of these. The spengleri generally, and I guess it goes for japonica too, they're closely related cousin from Japan, the only two species in Geoemyda, the genus Geoemyda, is that they kind of will breed faster. Things will kind of kick off a little faster if they're both facing each other. And that it's funny because these turtles are known for their eyes, but that eye contact is really important. So it's not like the male sees the shape of the female shell and gets really excited and goes after that. I mean, has it ever happened? Yes, but generally it's eye contact and a little bit of back and forth with them that really makes it so that things are likely to be successful. And what that looks like usually is the female kind of gets aggressive with the male and says, "No way, buddy, you're not coming over here to bother me." And then once she stops biting at him and turns and runs, that's when he chases, catches her, and mounts her. That's just how it works. So anyway, this is a male who's a little bit rambunctious. So I'm hoping that he'll take care of this pretty quickly. If you have a male who's interested in breeding, generally it can go pretty fast. And you can have the entire ordeal done in 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Sometimes it goes longer than that. Sometimes it takes them 15, 20 minutes to even get started with the whole ritual of courtship. But this male is generally pretty good. So I'm going to put him in with the female, give them a spray, and then leave them alone and see how it goes. So we just put together Mark's female and one of our males here, and that's going really well. It seems like they really like each other, LOL. I apologize to anyone who didn't realize that they were going to see some graphic turtle content in this video, but it's for science. And I think it's really interesting to see how these animals interact, especially at this, the most interactive of times that they have. Anyway, I think it probably makes sense while we're here checking out all these leaf turtles breeding that I actually pair up some of my leaf turtles as well. It is a challenge every single year to make sure everyone gets paired enough times to ensure that we're going to see a really good yield of eggs come laying season, and that those eggs will be fertile as they incubate. So anywho, I've got a couple here that I'm going to pair up. This is the male in my left hand on your right. This is the female in my right hand on your left. Art Anton, named after one of the founders of VCA. It's a long story, VCA, the company I work for. And then this is Wonton. And this is probably, she is so heavy. This is probably the heaviest, largest Geoemyda spengleri, black-breasted leaf turtle, Vietnamese black-breasted leaf turtle in the US. These are from a certain locality to the northern part of their range. And there's this theory, Bergman's rule, that says that animals in the more northern or more the cooler part of the range for a species, the individuals will get larger and they'll lay larger clutches. We see that with common snapping turtles, and we also see that with leaf turtles. Now, this turtle, in addition to being very large, also has the record for her species in terms of eggs laid in a single clutch. So this species lays 1 to 2 eggs at a time, but this female on 2 occasions has actually laid 4 egg clutches, which is amazing. Once in a while, you'll see a 3 egg clutch, but that's really, really rare. Now, she's laid four eggs on 2 separate occasions. So definitely a huge animal that likes to lay a lot of eggs. And she generally only lays once a year, where most of these spengleri lay 2 or 3 clutches a year. So that, again, would be indicative of their adaptations based on living in that northern climate where the season is shorter and there's less time to get all that egg laying and breeding and living in, because they're spending half the year, or maybe even more than half the year, sleeping because it's cold. Anyway, here goes. There's a lot of animals here to keep track of. So one of the ways I do that, at least for breeding in my census, which is over here, the breeding for the leaf turtles is all kept track of here. Now I have 2 species, the Japanese and the Vietnamese Chinese version. The Vietnamese Chinese is one species, and then there's a Japanese version, Geoemyda spengleri, and then the other is Geoemyda japonica from Japan. So they're all listed here, the females. And what I do is keep track of pairings both in the fall and spring, because that makes up a whole season that will determine whether or not we're going to have success this season during egg laying. So I think that the fall pairings are the most important. They're listed here. That's already happened. That was before the winter, obviously, that all that happened. So we'll see what type of impact that has. But I'm just making sure that right now, since it's spring, that we also get some spring breedings in before the eggs are actually laid. So we're just at the tail end of when it's appropriate for them to be breeding before egg laying season actually starts. So my goal is to get 3 pairings per female. And you'll see here, all of these check marks are successful pairings. When I first pair them together, they get a little dot. So we'll see here, Wonton was just paired up. So there's a dot there. Now I already saw Art breeding Wonton. So now that's going to turn into a check mark. So that's just a way of keeping track, because you want to make sure that the females are exposed but aren't left with the males all the time. This is a species that kind of beats each other up. So they do live solitary lives alone in relatively smaller enclosures, habitats, but that's by design to keep them safe and free from any stress caused by other animals. And then I can also keep track of parentage. So if this female was paired with this male, I know exactly who both parents are of any egg that's laid. Okay, so this is Mojo and Tay. Now, Tay is the female that can't, she has some kind of odd beak growth. She's had it for years. We've had her for many years, and she's always had this. She can't close her mouth. So she always looks like she's got a fresh bit of gossip that someone just told her. Her name is Tay, has been since the moment we got her, probably, gosh, 10 years ago at least now. But her nickname is Louise because she always looks like she just heard some gossip. So anyway, for whatever reason, Mojo is probably the best breeder that we have here these days. And for whatever reason, Tay who is only about 112 grams. She's the smallest female here by far, and she's actually smaller than the male, which is very rarely the case. She just fended him off, which is very rare. So I don't know how true this might be, but I do have a theory that sometimes females, if they know they've already been fertilized and or are gravid, will fight off males, especially if they're gravid, will fight off advancing males. So I don't know if that's what's happening here, but normally every time I put them together, it happens. He's awake, he's ready to do his thing. She's awake and she's ready to not let him do his thing. So really interesting development here with this normally very compatible pair of leaf turtles. Mark just asked a really good question. So I'm here with Mojo, one of the best breeders you'll ever see, who did not get the job done. So for that pairing on the list, he's just going to get a check. I'm sorry, a dot, not a check mark. But I'm going to put him now with a female who is the most difficult female to breed. And I normally pair her with him because he's such a good breeder. She fights and acts like she wants to kill, and she's very big, every male that's put with her. So we'll see what happens. Now, he didn't just breed with the female who normally is very agreeable to him. So we'll see how this goes. Did him. He's having a bad day. So there you go. She's actually fighting him. You don't see me, do you? Nope. She's actually fighting him. Ooh. That's much rougher than they normally get. But she is exceptionally rough. Ah. And normally they always do stay away, but I did have a male get bit on the nose and was bleeding the other day. Yeah. Which is, rare, and I've never seen it before. They do get them on the leg sometimes or on the shell, as you saw. They're not biting hard and causing lasting damage most of the time. But this is interesting because he just got basically told no by that other female. If he breeds this one, who is also trying to tell him no, it kind of begs the question, why? What's the difference? But we'll see.
But they've also been paired multiple times, so he's interested in her.
Right, exactly.
Where I don't think he was as interested in the other one.
Right.
Oh yeah, he's interested in her.
It's happening. So it's not a matter of the female not wanting, because this one is way bigger. This one is twice the weight. This one is like 220 and the other one's 110. So this girl this girl fights dirty. So why then does this lead to a successful breeding when the other pairing didn't?
So I'm really excited. My spengleri is pairing up with the male that Anthony introduced her to, which is huge. This is the one species I really, really want to work with as one of my top species. So if I get an egg out of her, that'd be awesome. If I don't get an egg out of her, that's fine too, because this is going to be her first pairing. So it's at least an attempt to move forward. So hopefully we'll see what happens come in a few months, and hopefully we get a couple eggs out of her.
Fingers crossed. So really exciting overall here today, mostly just because Mark is here, which obviously is always a lovely thing whenever he's here to join me with my turtle endeavors. You know, a lot of people don't realize, but Mark is really a special part of my operation here. That greenhouse that means so much to my animals, to so many of my animals, really wouldn't exist, but especially in the way that it does without Mark's help. He came several days and helped me build that thing. You see a lot of plants down here. This is a basement, so there shouldn't be all of these lush tropical plants doing as well as they do down here, but that's all Mark's tutelage. He's a very good horticulturist and has a lot of experience and knowledge when it comes to actually getting plants to do well in, you know, with little light. So pretty awesome. So overall today has been a very successful breeding day here for the Vietnamese Black-Breasted Leaf Turtles, the spengleri. We got 5 check marks out of the group, which is great. On our best days, we might have more like, you know, 6, 7 check marks, but 5 is a really solid day. So I'm excited about that. It really, like I said, is the end of the breeding season, so we're not looking to pair them anymore. But we're always, you know, trying to just ensure that we have a good season, and we're also always learning. So you notice that one male who was fought off by this very small female that's actually smaller than him, and then the female that's legitimately 2 times the weight of that female that successfully fought him off, then really kicked his butt, and all it did was just make him more excited, I guess. I don't know. It's weird, and it's hard to actually compartmentalize or anthropomorphize and figure out, okay, and not anthropomorphize, but figure out exactly what's going through their brain when you look at this type of behavior. And we've learned from a lot of folks who actually spend time with these animals in situ, in the wild, they don't have a lot of information on what we see every single day. Now, obviously, this is a large leaf turtle breeding operation, potentially the largest in the United States. And there's a lot of animals here, and there's a lot of information that we can share. So one of the things we need to do and be better about is actually publishing what we're seeing, the behaviors and the outcomes. We talked about those 4 egg clutches. We talked about what just happened with this male. This is all really interesting stuff, but putting it in a YouTube video or talking about it on a podcast is not the same as actually writing it up in a paper. So I need to be better about that, and I encourage you to be better as well. Why go through all the trouble to do this? Well, the answer is pretty simple. This is an endangered species, and it's still being exploited. In fact, it's still being smuggled into the US. So if you want to work with this species, be careful. I often say that I don't know if all of the success that I've had breeding this animal in captivity, this species, has actually done the species well, because over the course of those 10 to 15 years where we've really made strides in the captive breeding of this species, it has also helped lead to a real rise in the popularity. This is a species that can be kept in a terrarium, like a dart frog or a gecko, right? Where you have all these live plants and they're small enough that they don't trample them all. They're comical, they're amazing to watch. They're fun to feed and to breed. Everybody who knows what these are wants to work with them. But we have not, even with the success that we've had in recent years, been able to curb the demand for the species. So they are still being poached, and they are, most importantly, being smuggled into this country illegally and then being sold under the guise of captive breeding. So because we've had success, now people can more easily say, hey, these spengleri that I have that I'm selling, these are captive bred. And people might believe it because they're being bred in captivity a lot more often, when in reality, a lot of times those animals are not actually captive bred. They do really poorly after people spend a bunch of money, after they've been lied to about the origin of the animals, and just to have them perish in captivity. So it's really sad. So if you do want to work with them in captivity, make sure you're working with captive bred, bona fide captive bred animals, and don't let your desire for keeping an animal outweigh the reality of its entire multifaceted situation in the world, right? We have to be honest with each other about what the real situation is here. Now, if you ask me, breeding them in captivity does matter, and the zoos aren't really doing it. No offense to our friends at the zoos. So somebody needs to breed this awesome species, and we're working hard to do it. So this is a baby that hatched the end of last season, and we actually just paired up the parents today. So hopefully this one will have some siblings in the future, but right now this animal is just here doing its thing, living its best life, and growing slowly, but growing nonetheless. When you only have to reach 4 inches, you don't have to grow that fast, I suppose.
Hit subscribe, join the crew. Just Turtles. There's always something new.